Okay, so first thing we're going to do is you're going to open up your browser, which for you guys on your Chromebooks is obviously going to be Chrome. For me, it is Firefox, which by the way is superior in every way. If you're on a different laptop or desktop computer, for you that might be Opera or Safari or Internet Explorer or Netscape if it still exists. You're going to go here to your search bar and you're going to type in photopea.com. That's PHOTOPEA.com. And what Photopea is, it is a very good dupe of Photoshop that is available for free online. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to pay for anything. It's in your browser and it is taking forever to load. There we go. All right. And it is loading up the mock-up that was made for the yearbook. So we're going to close that, and that's skipping ahead. So the first thing you should see is this screen. You should see 3 buttons: New Project, Open from Computer, and Templates. Okay. I am going to find a photo from this website, Pexels. We'll talk more about this later. Let's search. Now, of course, one of the first things is something inappropriate. I love it here. We are going to search for, let's search for a hamster. Wow, so many amazing photos. And all of these are free to use as long as you use them in a creative way, like we're doing, and as long as we don't make money off them. I'm going to pick this one here. I'm going to click free download. Downloaded. You can say thanks if you want. Here in Photopea, I'm going to open from computer. I'm going to go to my downloads, and then I'm going to open up that photo, and you should see a window that looks like this. Now, because this has been happening year after year that I've taught this lesson, more often than not, you are not going to be able to see this window here that says Adjustments. So if you don't see this window, you're going to go up here where it says Window. You're going to scroll to Adjustments, and you're going to click it. Make sure that that little check mark is on, and then it should show up. So this is a very good mock-up of what you're going to see when you use Photoshop. Over here is your toolbar. These are probably the most common tools you're going to be using when you're doing your editing. Here are your layers. Let's talk about the layers. You only see one here. It's the default one. It's the only one. It's the background. The first thing you do every time you start a new Photoshop project is you want to make a copy of the background. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click, or with 2 fingers I tap on the mouse pad, and I'm going to click duplicate layer. And look at that, there's 2 layers. You're going to want to do this because if you make an irreversible mistake like oh no, now it's ruined and I don't have any more undos left, because that can happen. Usually your computer memory only stores about 40 undos before it suddenly decides, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. You can just delete that copy. I'm going to click on the layer, hit backspace, and we're back to square one, fresh start. Let me duplicate that again. When you have your 2 layers, I recommend renaming them. You don't have to, but it's a way to keep organized, and it's always kind of fun to do. You can name your layers whatever you want. I'm going to name this layer Sasuke, and I'm going to name my original layer Macaroni, because why not? Okay. Now, when we're editing a photo, first edit you make is levels. It's here in the adjustment window. The button for levels looks like a mountain. I'm We're going to click, and you should see this. This is called a histogram. And what this is a chart telling you where the dark colors, the dark values in your photo are, and where the light values in your photo are. How much of them they are, how little of them they are. It's okay if it's a little complicated. There's time. Over here, this black tab, if I click and drag, you see it's changing the photo. What this is doing, it's telling the program, hey, I want to change all of the dark values in my photo. I want to make everything that's to the left of this black square, all of that, I want to make that pure black, zero color. And everything on the right side of this tab is going to adjust to make sure that the photo stays balanced. You can do the same thing over here with the white tab. If I move this, you see the photo changes again. It's telling the program, hey, I want to make all of the light colors here on the right side of the white square into pure white. I recommend, remember, finding a balance, to pinch in both tabs until you see that the histogram reaches boop, a sudden spike. It's balanced, it's secure, it looks good. Now notice this gray square in the middle. These are your midtones, the grays, everything in the middle between pure black and pure white. Moving this around also changes the image in a similar way. I like this. I think it looks good, but let's see how it looked originally. We're going to keep this window here, and we're going to go back to our layers. We have the original, our copy, which is the one we're looking at, and then a new layer that says levels. Over here on the left, there's eyeballs, and if we click this eyeball here on levels, it disappears. This doesn't delete the layer, it just makes it, boop, invisible and revisible. As you can see, before the levels, before my changes, yeah, it was fine. It maybe was a little foggy, a little gray, a little desaturated, but with the levels, the photo becomes richer. Okay? Now, you can go crazy, insane ham on this if you want. It's no big deal. You don't have to keep it balanced unless you'd like to. This is really your chance to explore and have a little fun with it. Next thing you do after levels is curves, and that is the button that is right next to levels. So right next to this mountain, curves. There's a little S curve. It looks a little bit like the slope graphs you might see in algebra. A lot of you aren't in algebra yet, I understand, but just bear with me. So you're going to click that button and you're going to see this window. You see this graph behind here? That's another histogram. Levels and curves does almost the same thing, but in very different ways. Okay? So there's a diagonal line here. This controls where all the light and dark values in the photo are. If I click here in the middle and I drag, that diagonal line starts to bend and curve and move around, and the photo starts to change. I'm going to move it here, and then I'm going to release it. I was clicking and dragging. I'm going to release it. And then I'm going to go down here, click and drag, and notice that the first point where I had my mouse, it's anchored. It doesn't move. This is a really excellent way to finesse a photo and make sure that adjustments only affect certain parts. Now, I don't recommend making more than 3 points on a curve because then it starts to get a little crazy, as we can see here. A little demonic hamster going on. But again, it's a style, it's a vibe, and if you like how it looks, I mean, no big deal. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm gonna mess around like this. I like the dramatic dark look, as many of you know. Looking good. And if we go here, let's click on the eyeball. Much better. Yeah, now my level edit looks as gray and washed out as before, but the curves really helps make it pop. Next thing about curves. Up here, it says channel RGB. RGB stands for red, green, and blue because when it comes to light, red, green, and blue are the primary colors. I don't know why that is. Science is very interesting. So, if we click on this, we see that the RGB channel obviously affects all the light in the photo. And then you can separately control the red light, the green light, and the blue light in the photo. Let's go to red first. The histogram changes because now it's showing you where the red in the photo is. So, just like before, if I click and drag, it changes the amount of red in the photo. I can remove the red so that there's mostly blue and green. Makes a little matrixy, maybe a little more like a horror movie. If I boost the red, it just feels like the hamster is in a toaster oven, which is morbid. I'm sorry I said that. You can make little artistic changes like this. I'm going to make it maybe a little bit blue in the background, just to make it look like he's releasing his solo album in the middle of 2005. Then I'm going to go to green. Same thing, histogram changes. You can boost the green, or you can lower the green. I kind of like that purple, not gonna lie, but we're not gonna go too extreme with this. Then I'm gonna go to blue. Same thing, histogram changes. I can remove most of the blue in the photo. I can add a lot of blue in the photo. It's very yellow. Do I like that? I don't know if I like that. All right. I'm in the middle of liking or not liking this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my curves layer. It's already selected. It's already clicked on. And then I'm going to go up here to opacity. Opacity is the opposite of transparency. If transparent means it's see-through, opacity, opaque, means you cannot see through it. So coming here and messing with the opacity makes it semi-see-through. It can be 100% transparent or 0% opaque, or it can be 100% opaque or 0% transparent. I kind of like the yellow look, but I don't like how extreme it is here. So I'm going to lower it down. Let's make it 78. Yeah. Okay, that's so much better. I'm happy with this. Next thing you can do, if you wish, is you can go here to this button. It looks like there's a generational gap here, but when TV stations would be out of service, they would show these striped colors on screen. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it looks kind of like that. We're going to click on it. That's the hue and saturation. And those words should sound familiar. Hue, much like curves in the RGB categories, changes the color. This is a very elementary way of doing this, but if you'd like to play around with it, you're totally allowed to. And it's not going back to 0. There we go. Saturation, it boosts the color, or it takes all the color away. Lightness, of course, affects the light in the photo. In the future, when you're doing edits in Photopea, I would prefer you stay away from the hue and saturation window, again, because it's very basic. It's a very crass way to do things, meaning it's not refined, it's not very sophisticated. But again, if the tools are there and they're useful, you might as well use them. Okay, now you've done all the edits you want. You have made something you can be proud of. Awesome. How do I save it? On Photopea, you're going to go to File. You're not going to do Save or Save As. This will save it as a Photoshop document. You're going to go to Export. Export As. You can either do a PNG or a JPEG. I recommend JPEG. You're going to click, boop, and please don't freeze. Awesome. Wow. There we go. And you're going to see this. Name it. I'm going to say you should probably put your last name. So we're going to go last name, first name, and let's name it Edit 1. Save. It should download. Perfect. Now you can open up your Gmail and email your project to me.